You may have seen this bug in your neighborhood. It's a spotted lanternfly, and experts say if you see it, squish it. But how is a lanternfly and this lizard connected? Well, they're both invasive species that are growing right here in our communities. They may look small or even kind of cute, but actually have a negative impact on our environment. I spoke with a group of New Jersey high school students who are researching these critters, finding ways to better control and understand these pesky residents.
Spotted lanternflies have come to this part of the country, especially like Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, about a few years ago. There are these flies, they look like this. They're kind of pretty, but they're very invasive, and what they do is they basically feed on agriculture and viticulture. What they do is that they'll invade them so much that it'll like absolutely destroy the plant and it won't be able to grow any more of that, and it completely destroys the economies of all these places.
It's a huge concern for the grape industry, because in addition to the tree of heaven, which is their preferred food source, they'll also go after grapevines and completely drain grapevines of their life and their sap, and it could be a huge hit to the economy. So the real panic is that these lanternflies continue spreading and potentially reach California, where it would just decimate the wine industry.
And it's not just the West Coast that's concerned. There are dozens of vineyards on the Northeast, stretching from the shores of Long Island to Connecticut, that may face these intruders.
Our plants are not in any way set up to defend themselves for this. It starts to suck the sap out of the plant, and it weakens it to such a state that, in the next year or two, you'll just watch this plant basically die off.
It's coming back down. Now about these lizards. They're called Italian wall lizards and can be found anywhere from Boston to the Bronx. Two students are hoping to find out why these reptiles have unique characteristics based off location.
So the Italian wall lizard is a species of lizard that's native to France and Italy, and it was introduced to New Jersey, particularly in 1984. What we've discovered is that they're significantly different depending on where they're from. So for example, the population in New Jersey is very different from the native populations of France and Italy.
Could it bite? No.
Another example of that was also we have collected species from Mount Laurel and Topeka, Kansas as well. And we noticed that one of the lizards in the Mount Laurel population seemed to be particularly more aggressive than the rest of the other species that we've collected. So we want to look into the behavioral studies along with that.
So what's next when looking at these two invasive species? Well, Debolina is hoping to find a way to mass exterminate lanternflies without hurting any other animals or plants in the process.
In my project, we're basically infecting some of them with a certain fungi and then seeing if they'll interact with one another through breeding and stuff, and then see if they transmit the fungi to all the other lanternflies. And if so, it would just mean that if even a small group of lanternflies were affected with this fungi, it would affect everyone and they would perish.
The disadvantage of pesticides is you spray to try to kill the lanternfly, you end up killing all the good bugs and not the bugs you actually want to kill, which is why Debolina's research on trying to find a new way to specifically target these lanternflies is really the ideal situation.
As for the lizards, how about a new pet?
And you can actually keep them as pets. When I reached out to the New York Department of Environmental Conservation, they said you can catch as many as you want. Since we can't release them in the wild, there's no other option than to keep them as pets.
So we just created a home that is safe and well surrounded with things that they would normally do out in the wild.
For NBC New York, I'm Linda Gaudino.